Welcome to Beyond the Lens, where history comes alive, and every documentary takes you deeper than ever before. History isn't just written in books. It's carved into ancient ruins, hidden beneath the oceans. For breathtaking this is a journey beyond the lens.
If you wander too close to Groom Lake today, you will hit a wall of sensors, cameras, and private security patrols. As the warnings make clear, the guards have the explicit authorization to use deadly force against anyone who crosses the fence line. For decades, you couldn't even find this perimeter on a map. The United States government refused to acknowledge that this highly active facility existed at all. Without official answers, the public filled the vacuum with their own theories, turning this patch of Nevada dirt into a global icon for crashed flying saucers and extraterrestrial cover-ups. This high-security perimeter protects a legacy of Cold War paranoia, a secret program that unintentionally engineered the very mythology it sought to avoid. To understand how this happened, we have to go back to 1955. The United States was in a tense standoff with the Soviet Union, and military leaders feared a potential nuclear attack. American intelligence needed a way to look behind the Iron Curtain. They had to build an aircraft capable of photographing enemy territory without being detected or shot down. A project this sensitive required a testing site shielded from public view. Groom Lake offered a massive dry lakebed, acting as a natural runway, ringed by mountains that blocked the line of sight for miles. The workers building the facility were flown in on unmarked airplanes. Every employee signed strict non-disclosure agreements, often unable to tell their own families where they were going or what they were doing. This isolated stretch of desert was an invisible laboratory, built for the sole purpose of testing one revolutionary piece of aviation hardware. That hardware was the U-2 spy plane. Its primary defense was its altitude, the ability to cruise at 70,000 feet, placing it entirely out of reach from commercial air traffic and enemy fighters. Curious, this diagram shows the atmospheric illusion that followed. Because the U-2 cruised so high in the stratosphere, it remained bathed in bright sunlight during dawn and dusk, while the Earth's surface below was wrapped in shadow. When observers looked up, they couldn't see the wings or the tail. The distance and the harsh reflection of the sun stripped away the plane's silhouette, leaving them staring at a silent, fast-moving, glowing orb crossing the dark sky. The government collected hundreds of these reports. Intelligence officials knew exactly what people were seeing, but correcting the record meant admitting to the Soviets that their new spy program existed. Officials issued blanket denials. By refusing to offer an explanation, the military unintentionally validated the public's wildest theories. The wall of secrecy was generating the rumors it wanted to suppress. As aviation science pushed forward, engineers began prioritizing radar evasion. Making an aircraft invisible to radar required highly unusual physical shapes. The SR-71 Blackbird featured a long, curved, pitch-black fuselage that defied standard human engineering at the time. Then came the F-117 Nighthawk. Its body was constructed from sharp, flat geometric panels designed to scatter radar waves. To a civilian catching a fleeting glimpse, it hardly looked like an airplane. Every leap in covert aerospace technology introduced another bizarre craft into the skies, adding further evidence to the public's growing extraterrestrial speculation. The silence required to win the Cold War intelligence race ended up manufacturing the most resilient conspiracy theory of the modern age. An empty, silent stretch of barren dirt now casts an enormous, inescapable shadow over global pop culture. Public fascination eventually leveled off as stealth technology became common knowledge. But then, a man stepped in front of television cameras, claiming he had worked deep inside the facility's most restricted laboratories. He claimed the government was reverse engineering crashed alien technology, an allegation that moved Area 51 from the classified military records and into the center of the world's most enduring conspiracy theory. In 2013, the CIA released a batch of declassified documents that officially acknowledged Area 51 as a real military testing facility for the first time. 6 years later, millions of people RSVP'd to an online event to storm those exact gates. This handwritten notice on a local motel door captures how a digital joke about extraterrestrials evolved into a massive cultural obsession. It raises a difficult question. Why did a formal admission from a powerful intelligence agency fail to dampen the conspiracy theories? The Nevada desert serves as a unique psychological environment. It provides a look at what happens when high-level military concealment operates in plain sight. This tension creates a friction between official secrecy and civilian observation, transforming a classified testing ground into a platform for global speculation. To trace the breakdown in public trust, we have to look back to July 1947. Following a crash near Roswell, New Mexico, the U.S. Army issued a press release stating they had recovered a flying disc. Within hours, the military retracted the statement. The extraordinary discovery was suddenly reclassified as a standard weather balloon. The debris actually belonged to Project Mogul, a classified effort to detect Soviet nuclear tests. This photograph shows the scale of the translucent, high-altitude research balloons being prepared for those missions. Because the true nature of Project Mogul was too sensitive to reveal, the military relied on a thin cover story, leaving a trail of inconsistencies that the public found impossible to ignore. Denying a highly public event without offering the genuine explanation creates a void. In that silence, suspicion becomes the default response. That suspicion intensified throughout the 1950s and 60s. Civilians and commercial pilots reported seeing sleek, silvery objects moving at altitudes and speeds that defied contemporary aviation logic. These reports were actually tracking the development of advanced spy planes. This image shows the A-12 Oxcart, a stealth aircraft whose profile was unlike anything else in the sky at the time. Given the existential stakes of the Cold War, the military maintained absolute silence regarding the existence of these aircraft. When the public sees technology that looks like science fiction and the government refuses to provide a name for it, people will invent their own origins for what they're seeing. By 1989, the lack of official information had created a massive demand for answers about what was really happening in the Nevada desert. That was the year Bob Lazar appeared in the media. He claimed he had worked at a secret facility called S4, located deep within the zone surrounding Area 51. Lazar alleged that the military was hiding 9 recovered alien spacecraft, and that his role involved reverse engineering their propulsion systems. Lazar argued that a substance called element 115 generated gravity waves to power these vehicles. When scientists later synthesized element 115, they found it was a highly unstable element with properties that directly contradict his descriptions of gravity-based propulsion. Lazar's narrative gained global traction because it offered a comprehensive explanation for the base's existence, finally naming the secrets the government had spent 40 years denying. The 2013 declassification arrived long after the myth had taken root. The facility's physical isolation, seen here against the mountains, remains secondary to its status as a legend. Decades of films, documentaries, and games have already integrated the alien narrative into the way the world understands this location. Modern satellite imagery shows that the work hasn't stopped. New hangars and expanded runways suggest the base is currently being used to develop hypersonic vehicles and autonomous drones. Even with its existence confirmed, the base operates under the same restrictive protocols as the 1950s. These warning signs at the perimeter make it clear that photography and drones remain strictly prohibited. This creates a continuous cycle. The military develops revolutionary human technology, which requires hiding it from the very public it is designed to protect. Area 51 is a compelling subject, even without the presence of extraterrestrial spacecraft. The base acts as a mirror, showing us how the human mind responds to absolute, impenetrable secrecy. As long as the gates remain locked to protect human secrets, the world will imagine alien ones. Mystery thrives entirely on the things we aren't allowed to see.